And I'm live. Hello. Happy New Year, everyone. I wanted to come to you for today's Tip Tuesday and talk to you about lead nurturing. So, this is one of those conversations I have all the time where people ask me, what's the benefit of blogging? Why should I invest in it? And I always kind of get overwhelmed. Like, I actually have a hard time answering that question because my brain gets so overloaded with all the different benefits that I freeze up. I can't just choose one or two. You'd think it would be easy, but there are so many benefits to blogging. I really have a hard time picking just one. So, one that I'm going to talk about today, this is the focus for today's video, is lead nurturing. This is so important, especially if you're in a B2B industry or professional services. If you are at all familiar with me, you know that I tend to combine B2B and professional services because they tend to work similarly. They both tend to have a longer buyer journey, a bigger investment, which is part of that longer buyer journey, right? Because people want to really do their research before they buy. No one's going to impulse hire a lawyer or someone like me, right? It's got to be, you really have to build that trust. Content is a great way to build that trust and nurture that lead by educating them, explaining what it is you provide, explaining the benefit of what it is you provide and why they should hire you over someone else, and how you can make their lives better through your product or service. So, the other benefit or the other similarity is there sometimes is more than one people making the purchasing decision. So, like a financial planner who helps families plan for retirement or saving for their kids' college or whatever, right? Usually, parents are going to be making that decision together. So, same with B2B. Usually, there's an hierarchy there of different people making that buying decision. So, content can be a great way to convince everyone involved that, yes, this is absolutely something that you need. Here's why. Here's why I'm the best person or company to provide it. And content is also super shareable, right? Someone trying to convince their boss that they need XYZ can share their blog or your newsletter with their boss, and that can help make the case. But that means your content has to be on point and you have to understand how to nurture those leads. So there are three pillars to this, right? There's a lot involved, but three main pillars are identifying your target audience, because everything flows from there. Everything from the topics you write about to your call to action to where you distribute your content to the words that you use in your content, all of that starts from understanding who your target audience is, what matters to them, what is it they're looking for, and where are they hanging out online, right? Or in person, right? I have this, I just joined a new networking event last week because that's where my people are hanging out in person. I'm on LinkedIn all the time because my people are on LinkedIn. That is a very intentional strategy on my part. That is why I have been doing it that way. So know who your target audience is, so you know where to go, where to put your content, as well as, like I said, what to write about, the language you can use. CTA is an example of that, right? CTA is jargon in my industry, where I think anyone who's a marketer would know that I mean call to action when I say CTA. But not all of my clients will know what CTA means unless I explain it to them. So I won't use that jargon until I've already said call to action, and then in parentheses I'll put CTA so you understand what I'm talking about. So all of that matters. Identify your target audience first and foremost, and then you need to map out your buyer journey. You need to know how people are finding you, where are they finding you, and then what are the steps they take to decide to work with you. What pieces of content are they consuming, and with each piece of content, what is the next step in the buyer journey? So this is pillar 2, is mapping out the buyer journey. This is very closely connected to pillar 3, which is the call to action, because every piece of content needs a great call to action. I see this all the time with people writing their blog posts where they don't have a call to action at the end of their blog post, and then they wonder why their blogs aren't getting any results for them. Well, it's because you didn't tell them what the next step in the buyer journey was that they should be taking. You just left it up to them to do it, to figure it out themselves. People are very easily confused. People are not always going to take that initiative unless there's a really hard sell in your blog and they go, oh yes, I absolutely want to work with this person. How do I sign up? That never happens, especially in a B2B industry, right? Content should be very educational. It should provide tips and resources that they can use in their own life, apply in their own life or business or whatever it is your target audience is doing, so that they can apply it themselves before reaching out to you. That's part of how you establish yourself as an authority in your industry, which is great. But you then need that call to action at the end to get them to take that next step in the buyer journey, which means you need to know where they are in the buyer journey when they consume that piece of content. That means for blogging, especially for B2B industries, it's not always going to be, hey, reach out for a consultation or buy my product or service. It's more likely to be sign up for my webinar or get this download and sign up for my newsletter or follow me on social media. And then if they do follow you on social media, if that is what you're asking them to do, again, you have to know which social media channels they're hanging out on. Are they on LinkedIn or are they on a different channel altogether? So absolutely keep that in mind when you are crafting your content. The hard part about this is that people in different stages of the buyer journey can be reading the same blog post, right? So for example, I have this blog post I just published on my website today, and maybe someone will be searching information on lead nurturing and they'll find my blog and they'll get to know a little bit about what I do. They're not ready to buy yet. They're just figuring out what lead nurturing is and how it works. So I don't want to go straight for the hard sell. I want to go for that. Hey, do you want to sign up for my newsletter? Do you want to follow me on social media? All that good stuff. But tomorrow when my newsletter goes out, it's going to promote my blog. My blog is going to be in there. People can go to my website and read my blog, this blog post, but they don't want that soft sell. They don't want to be signing up for my newsletter. They're already on my newsletter. That's how they got to the blog post in the first place. So that's an example of how you can get people in different stages of the buyer journey consuming one piece of content. The way I do that, at least with my blog posts, is I do tend to save that soft sell, sign up for my newsletter, sign up for my webinar, follow me on social media. I put that on the blog post itself. I save the hard sell in the newsletter itself. That's where that goes. So the newsletter always has my blog post, whatever I'm promoting that week, as well as my hard sell. Again, maybe it's a service I'm promoting that week, or maybe it's just, hey, reach out for a consultation or a phone call. I was happy to chat, that kind of thing. That goes in the newsletter itself so that I know that the people who already know me are getting that hard sell. Whereas the people who might just be finding me on LinkedIn or somewhere else online, if this is their first time visiting my website, I want to make sure they get that soft sell, because that's an action they're much more likely to take. So that is what I have for you today. Those are the 3 pillars of lead nurturing with content marketing. And again, if you have any questions, I am always available. I do love talking about this stuff all the time. I am at AV, as in my initials, Allison Verhalen. That is avwritingservices.com. You can reach me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. And if you know of anyone who would benefit from this video, I highly, highly recommend that you share it. That would be a huge favor to me, as well as hopefully to the person that you share it with. So with that, have a great 2023, everyone. Happy New Year and happy blogging.